What makes a film cult? Is it rarity, difficulty, or simply being hard to find? And if everyone can watch a film, can it still be cult? This video begins with a seemingly simple contradiction. How can an animated film that is globally accessible still be experienced as cult cinema? Traditionally, cult cinema has been associated with rarity, marginal circulation, and resistance to the mainstream.
I got a very positive attitude about this.
Good, me too.
Yeah.
But in an era defined by replay culture and home viewing, access alone can no longer explain how cult experiences are formed. Rather than treating cult as a fixed property of a text, this video understands cult as an experience produced through viewing. It emerges through repeated watching, interpretive labor, and the practices of fandom.
Oh man, this is... oh my god, this is intense.
Using Paprika 2006 as a case study, this video asks not whether the film is underground or obscure, but how its viewing structure and collective fan interpretation transform it into a cult viewing experience. As Matt Hill suggests, cultishness is commonly understood as a form of marginality produced against the mainstream. Similarly, Barbara Kleiner notes that midnight screenings, independent distribution, and circulation through rare or bootleg media have often been treated as central to cult cinema. Together, these assumptions place restricted circulation at the center of cult experience, but they also rely on a key premise that the logic of cult can be universally applied across different media and cultural contexts. Anime is precisely where these assumptions begins to break down. It is not a marginal exception to cult cinema, but a stress test that exposes the limits of inherited cult frameworks. As Rena Dennison argues, it is a mistake to treat anime as cult itself. Cult status usually applies not to an entire medium, but to specific texts under specific viewing conditions. This problem becomes even more visible within what Barbara Kleiner describes as a culture of replay. Through reissues, home viewing technologies, and repeated consumption, films now circulate continuously rather than marginally. In this context, cult can no longer be explained solely through restricted circulation. Adding to this complexity, Annually News observes that anime in the West has often been consumed as a form of exotic spectacles.
Reacting to anime.
Anime? Like one word? Never heard of it.
Anime.
It's a style of animated television shows that are produced in Japan.
And they always have big eyes and little pixie hair.
Here, cult reputation is sometimes grounded not in marginality, but in cultural otherness. Taken together, these observations force a shift in focus. Rather than asking whether a film is obscure enough to be cult, we must ask how cult experience is produced at the level of viewing. Rather than actively producing cult status, Paprika creates a demand for cult practices. Its aesthetic exercise does not function merely as stylistic spectacle. Instead, it structures how the film must be watched. As Cleaner suggests, replayworthiness itself can become a canonizing trait. In Paprika, dense imagery, unstable narrative logic, and shifting identities overwhelm passive comprehension. These strategies do not invite mastery, they defer it. Understanding is repeatedly postponed rather than resolved. The result is a demanding viewing experience in which meaning cannot be immediately established, but must be actively constructed by the viewer. At this stage, Paprika does not yet produce cult fandom. What it produces instead is the possibility of long-term attachment through repeated return.
Oh, they're turning the tables on him. They know he's looking for somebody. So his partner?
Whoa!
Or he
How'd he get
got
switched
tra-
over into
Oh,
the little cage?
it's magic.
Wait, no. There's like a lot of people that look like him.
Or are we dealing with like alternate universes?
Yeah, maybe.
If cult is defined solely through marginal circulation, Paprika fails. But if cult is understood as a mode of intensive, unstable engagement, its cult potential becomes legible. Yet demanding viewing alone does not produce cult status. What completes cult is not the text itself, but what happens between viewers. Difficulty alone does not automatically produce cult experience. It becomes cult only when difficulty is taken up, repeated, and shared. In other words, cult emerges at the moment when individual confusion is transformed into collective interpretation.
But this movie is so mind-melting fuckery confusion that I want you guys to witness this with me and try to explain it as we go along.
As Matthews argues, a cult fan does not exist simply because of personal attachment. Cult status is established when a text is repeatedly described as cult within fan communities and related niche media. Then, cult is not a natural quality of the text itself, but a cultural position continuously reaffirmed through fan discourse. It is in this sense that cult does not originate from the film alone, but from interpretive communities built around it. Paprika becomes cult not because its fans share identical tastes, but because they engage in similar form of interpretive labor. As Dubernus suggests, fan cultures share structural similarities with religious practice. They form interpretive communities and treat the text as a shared property to which members repeatedly return. This shared interpretive labor deepens not only attachment to the film, but also a sense of belonging within the fan community itself.
Let's go.
Within this context, repeat viewing takes on different meaning. It is not about fully mastering the narrative, but about returning to a text that remains replay-worthy and never fully exhausted.
This dude is so cold, man. What the?
Man dying at the hotel. And same thing happens again. He starts running, can't catch up, and then he falls. And then we transition to Paprika watching it at a theater on a big screen. And then he turns to find out that it's actually he is the one who shot the gun. And then he exclaims that it looks like he shot himself, which again is so cool in a psychological sense. As the whole concept of killing yourself in a more abstract sense is the idea of killing off who you once were.
This is precisely what allows the film to sustain long-term discussion. Fandom provides a provisional structure through which instability is organized, debated, and temporarily resolved. As Hales notes, fan culture preserves a space of self-absence, where fans are not required to offer fully rational or unified explanation for their attachment.
Something for your mind.
Because commitment does not need to be constantly justified, fan relationships become more sustainable over time. Therefore, cult status is not solely defined by exclusion from the mainstream, but by the durability of collective engagement. As Hill's father argues, what matters is not how intensely fans produce content, but whether this relationship can persist even in the absence of new official text. This video has argued that defining cult cinema through inaccessibility is a limited perspective. As a medium that has been industrialized and widely circulated from the outside, anime does not naturally fit this framework. Paprika becomes cult not because it is hard to find, but because it is continuously reworked, discussed, and sustained through fandom. As Dynison suggests, the more productive question is not whether anime counts as cult, but how cult, fandom, and industrial circulation are dynamically intertwined.
Now, Shu shares his feedback with the team. There are a million ways to deliver a line, and it's his responsibility to ensure that the seiyuu, voice actors, perfectly convey the characters' emotions in each scene.
In this sense, Paprika's cult status is not a contradiction of accessibility, but a product of what accessibility makes possible.